I didn't mean to do it. It was a huge accident. I was even going to get my vehicle's brakes fixed while I was driving. An old man, I assumed he was a hitchhiker, raced out in front of my car and apparently attempted to catch my attention and make make me stop. Oh, and I tried. I tried so hard. I kept pressuring the brake pedals and there's no response. I stomped on the pedal, forcing it as down as I could in hope that the man would foolishly darted out in front of my car would still be alive. But by the time my car had stopped, I had a sinking feeling in my stomach. Had I just killed the man? He seemed to fill the space between my ears like when it would when I was a child and knew I'd been caught doing something wrong. A fair distance from the halted vehicle, I saw the man. His tattered clothes suggested he might have been homeless, and his heavily breathing only could put the idea in my head that he was in great pain. I approached him, asked him if he was okay. A smile tugged at the corner of his lips, and he goes into a mad grin. He laughs, but it's unnerving, unsettling. Blood begins to drip from his mouth, and his insane cackles slowly turn into coughs. He speaks in a hoarse, rattling, dying breath. For so long, I've wanted this pain to end. Now it is yours. A serene smile crept over his blood-stained face, and his eyes glazed over with the vacant look of death. I shook him, trying to get him to wake up. I offered to take him to the hospital, but it was too late. His dying breath had left him. I took his dying words as ramblings of a madman. Oh, how wrong I was. Who would I tell about this? The idea of just leaving him out here with to have his bones picked clean by wild animals and vultures disturbed me. I pulled the sleeves of my jacket over my hands, not to touch his body. Who knows? He could have been diseased. Whipping my cellular phone out of my pocket, I dialed 911. Hello, 911. Hello, 911. I found a body on the roadside. It appears to be a man in his 60s or 70s. I don't know who hit it, but I really hated lying, but going to jail wasn't on my agenda. You need me to stay here. Okay, that's not a problem. So much for that hot day at 9 p.m. I then realized that I needed to clean my vehicle off in case there was any traces of blood on it. Fortunately, I had some of those Clorox wipes in the trunk. Partially because a friend that borrowed my car recently had a nasty flu, and I weren't interested in catching. Wiping the front automobile just in case, I felt relief. The police and ambulance showed up only to tell me that they found no body. It was most likely just a trick of the light. My ship to the location where the man had been. I could only see one thing. A thick layer of dust was lying there where he once was. Was this a trick? That was impossible. I felt the car hit him. I held him in my arms and his soul faded from existence. But then a strange feeling began to come over me. I felt so alive, so awake. Everything seemed so fresh and new, like it all belonged to me. For that moment, the world was mine. No one could let anyone know they'd think I was insane. I took it as a rush of endorphins from the relief you felt. I only agreed with the officers saying I'd been watching too many scary movies or reading too many frightening books, only to laugh lightheartedly. Most of them shook their heads at me as if I were a fool and returned to their vehicles. I got back in my car and resumed getting the brakes fixed as planned. Life continued as usual. That feeling of grandeur hadn't left me yet. I always felt great, at least for a good while. I got married to the person of your dreams. I lived in a nice house. Everything was wonderful. The thought of that man were soon pushed to the back of my mind. So many good things had come to chase away the nightmares. But only years later, I began to notice some oddities. The attractive person I married was slowly growing gray and haggard. I looked no different than I did on my wedding day. Years went by and I didn't change. My spouse suggested I had good genetics, but I knew it had to be more than just that. Only then I did realize that the man had cursed me. After I had hit him, he had crumbled to dust minutes afterward. Years continued, and my spouse began to fear me. Rumors about me being a vampire or an immortal, most of these were just laughed off. Others said it might have been the subject of some life extension plan. That was how I managed to afford such a nice house. Rumors circulated more, and with more passing of the seasons, my spouse left me. I went to the funeral. Not looking a day older, I was shunned by the family. People began to avoid me. I was treated as if I carried the plague. There was only one choice. I had to move on. At this point, I was making plenty of money, and finding a new job wouldn't be hard. I hopped countries multiple times, and often struggled with decisions to remarry. I met so many charming people, but I didn't want to see them deteriorate from their youthful, beautiful, into nothing more than frail, gray husk. I wanted to keep some of them, and I did, only to know the grief to come. I kept them until they shriveled away into no more than skin and bone, buried beneath the casket in the ground. I fell apart more and more. My heart would ache, only to desperately reach out for love again. My euphoria was slowly replaced by misery and depression each day. All I loved would die. All I saw would suffer. From eventual destruction, my life was a vessel filled with nothing more than despair. It had become a painful cycle. I would do everything in my mind to numb the pain. I turned to drug use. I turned to prostitution, simply to try to fuck away the pain. I tried to kill myself, only realizing that nothing worked. Attempts only resulted in scars that would seal up as if they never had been. Disease didn't harm me. Nothing would hurt me except the loss of anything I'd grown to love. The only solution was complete solitude. I locked myself away, shattered everything I could see my accursed reflection in. That ageless reflection, that God-forsaken reflection. After all this, I realized what an old man meant. He wanted to die. He wanted his misery. Immortality was not so glamorous after all. After hearing my tale, do you still want it? Do you want to go through what I have? Believe that the only thing able to kill an immortal of my nature is an act of murder. Please, have mercy. Please kill me.